Hello and welcome back to the channel. Okay, I have a word. And I don't even remember what I was doing earlier. And I have this word is time sensitive. It has to go out today. And it is 10:15 where I am. Okay. I don't know what I was doing, but earlier today I heard there's snakes on the plane. This word is for those that you know that God has said you are in a season of elevation. Okay. And I'm gonna kind of read a little bit of what I wrote down and just talk it out as well. God says that your life is going to another level, a higher level, and He has you on an airplane, which means you are moving quickly, you are moving fast, okay, and that there is purposeful acceleration to your elevation, okay. The fact that, because remember, there's snakes on the plane. The fact that you're on a plane, basically it tells me that you have to reach a certain speed and a certain altitude to get to this next level that He wants to take you to. Okay, a car is a mode of transportation, right? But it can't take you as fast as a plane. A train is a mode of transportation, but it can't take you as high as a plane can. Okay, so you have to be on an airplane in order to get to this next place that God is taking you, because of how fast and because of how high you have to go. Excuse me. The issue is that the enemy has put some snakes on the plane. Okay, the enemy sees, the enemy knows. He doesn't always he doesn't know exactly what God is doing. Okay, but he can sense that you are in a season of elevation. He knows that God has something greater for you, and He's going to do anything and everything He can to stop it, right? Okay, so if you don't already know, there's a movie that's called Snakes on a Plane, and it stars Samuel L. Jackson, okay? And the reason why I know that this is a time-sensitive word is because this movie, Snakes on a Plane, came out in 2006, right? And it literally came out on this day. That's how I'm like, I know this is God, because when I looked it up, because I remembered the movie, but I just needed to look it up to make sure I knew what I was talking about, right? But it came out this day, August 18th, in 2006. So 16 years ago today. So I think it's just interesting that God does stuff like that. But basically, somebody needs to hear this today, even though it's 10 o'clock. I'm still getting it out, okay? Lord help me. Okay, but there are snakes on your plane. Okay, I don't know who these snakes are. Perhaps you do, perhaps you don't. But you need to go to God about the snakes that are on your plane. These snakes in the movie, basically, there is someone who gets murdered, and the witness to the murder is put on a plane, and I think they are leaving Hawaii going to Los Angeles, and yeah, and so there is a kingpin, crime boss, whatever, crime lord, if you will, who wants to make sure that he kills that witness so that they can't testify about the crime that was committed, the murder, right? And so that crime boss, kingpin, whatever you want to call it, has someone put a what is it called? What's the word? A crate. I'm sorry, a crate of venomous snakes onto the plane. Okay, and the crate is time released, and that was important because the enemy releases time released curses, time released stumbling blocks, time released snakes, if you will, into your life so that he can stop you, destroy, because he comes to kill, steal, and destroy your destiny at a specific time, right? God has a specific appointed time where He has decided to elevate you. And here comes the enemy at that same appointed specific time trying to kill what God has planned for you, right? Okay, and so the thing about it, what's also so funny is that the enemy did not come and try to stop you from getting on the plane. The enemy in this movie didn't try to kill this witness before getting on the plane. See, the enemy is so sneaky, and he has so many different tactics, right? And so the enemy waited until this witness got onto a plane where the witness couldn't go anywhere, where the witness couldn't get away, where it was most likely that if you are up on an airplane with some snakes, you're not going to be able to get anywhere. And if you do get off of the plane, you're probably going to fall to your death. The enemy wants to make sure that there is no escape from the plan and the plot that they have against you to try to destroy and derail your destiny. And the same thing is in this movie. If I put you on a plane and I release a crate of venomous snakes, 9 times out of 10, you and most of the people on that plane are going to end up dead. Okay? And so it was very calculated, premeditated. The enemy has premeditated plans, calculated plans for you. And so he has put these snakes on this plane. The snakes may be people, the snakes may be spells. I don't know. You have to ask God exactly what your snakes in your situation are. But because the enemy sees that you are going through a period of elevation, or that a period of elevation is coming up, he is going to put a crate of a time release crate of snakes, venomous snakes, on your plane. He is going to try to take you down in mid-air. The enemy is going to wait until you are traveling at a high speed, at a high altitude, where you are probably going to be most likely sitting comfortably, not paying attention to your surroundings. What do we do when we get on a plane? We usually go to sleep. We may read a book. We may just try to pass the time. We're relaxed. Our defenses are down. Jesus. Our defenses are down and we're not paying attention. When I get on a plane, I try to go to sleep, okay? I don't necessarily like being on a plane for hours and hours. And so if I can get in a good couple hour nap, I'm good to go. So you're going to get on this plane, right? And although you're going through a period, a state of elevation, you are feeling, perhaps elevation usually makes us feel euphoric, or in this case, you're a bit relaxed, maybe even drowsy. And so you're not paying attention. Your awareness is not as heightened as it should be because you're cruising, right? We're on a plane and we cruising. Somebody else is in control, right, of the plane. And so you're just sitting back, on the ride. And so here comes the enemy when your defenses are low and he's ready to attack. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. God is saying that you have to be alert. You have to be of sober mind. You have to be aware, because that's when he's coming in. That's when the enemy is coming in. God is trying to elevate you. He's trying to lift you up higher. And here comes the enemy trying to destroy everything that God has said is for you. Okay, there's snakes on your plane. I need you to take this to God and ask him who the snakes are. Who do you need to get rid of? And you need to get rid of them quickly, because if you don't get rid of these snakes, if you don't ask God who these snakes that are on you, because you're already in mid-flight. That's when the snakes got released. The snakes got released in mid-flight. It was time released. It couldn't happen when they were just taking off. It couldn't happen before you got onto the plane. They couldn't just be sitting there, because guess what? If the snake was already on the plane, you wouldn't have got on that plane. If you'd have got on the plane and you see the snake, you'd have got off the plane. You have to be already in mid-flight when these snakes come out of the woodworks, when these snakes are dropping down on you and biting you. That's what the enemy wants. He wants to catch you off guard. God says that you have to be vigilant, you have to be sober, you have to be of sober mind, you have to be alert. You don't have the luxury of taking a nap. You can't take a nap on this flight. You have to be very vigilant about what's going on, because the enemy of your soul wants to kill you, and he wants to prevent you from getting to your destination. He wants to take you out so that when that plane lands, if the plane lands, you'll already be dead, right? He wants to make it so that the plane comes out of the sky. He wants to make it so that the pilots, those that are in control, they go down, right? And I believe in the movie that one or both of the pilots end up getting bit by the snake. I know for sure one of the pilots did. And I think when the other one went to go see what was going on, because he thought that the first one was having a heart attack, but he wasn't. It was because he was bit by a snake. Then he ends up getting bit by a snake. So the enemy is trying to The enemy is trying to throw anything that he can. He's trying to do whatever he can with these snakes, right? With this plot and this plan that he has to try and destroy and derail you. He wants to destroy you. He can't afford to let you make it to your destination. He can't allow for you to reach that higher elevation. He can't allow for you to get to where God's trying to take you, because if you get there and you're able to, oh my God, if you are able to testify, right? In the movie, he couldn't allow the witness to get to the final destination because that witness would have been able to testify about the goodness of Jesus. Listen, you would be able to testify about who the Lord is. You would be able to carry out the assignment that God has on your life. I don't know who this is for, but you need to be vigilant, because the enemy is trying to put some snakes on your plane. Okay? You need to ask God what you need to do, how you need to, because you got to get on that plane. You have to get on that plane. You're being elevated, but you need to be aware that the enemy is trying to put some snakes on your plane. That's the word.